we know there's issues, we know there's problems. What can we do and where do we start? The good news, as I've said, is you don't have to start by talking about intercourse. That's not how we talk about sexual safety. We talk about relationships, we talk about assertiveness, we talk about boundaries, and that is where we begin because it is a continuum. Relationships to intimate relationships. Okay, that's the most profound and hopefully the most, they can be very pleasurable relationships, but we've got to work on all those skills to get there to be able to manage that. Early foundations. Make sure our clients are able to take care of their independent needs. The more people are dependent on others, the more they're exposed to being exploited, right? If you can't bathe yourself and dress yourself, you're having people in your life seeing you in compromised positions. So help people be as independent as possible, help kids from very early on. What else are we going to do? We're also going to talk about habits. You know what? It's not okay for you to pull your pants all the way down when you use the bathroom. You can't get naked to poop. Okay? And by the way, when you walk into a bathroom, you don't go in the urinal right next to the other guy when it's empty. Okay? So we have to talk about some of those specific things. Is it okay to talk to the guy next to you in the urinal? Is it okay? If you're sexually curious and no one's giving you information, might you want to peek over at that guy to get some information? Do we want that to happen? Right? Let's get materials available. I will show you another text that I love. The Hot Pink Book of Sex. If you need to talk to someone about sexuality that is on the spectrum or has any kind of, needs some more specific instruction, this book is so helpful. Clearly written, honest, compassionate, pictures, right? Goes missing in my office all the time. I think librarians and myself have the same issue. Guess why? No one wants to come up and say, hey, I had some questions about that. But if they see it out there, if you make it available to people, they can access it and learn it. And hopefully, if you're leaving the door open, they can come to you and talk to you about it if they have questions. And you know what? Don't wait for them to bring up conversations. Initiate it in a sensitive way. But again, we don't need to initiate it by okay, I wanted to talk to you about you might have some feelings coming on. We're talking about boundaries and what we do and we don't do, and you just put it all in the constellation of that. So it's not like this strange thing that we kind of keep in a box over here. It's all part of the human reality. It's all part of how we live. We've got boundaries, we've got needs, we've got different ways of expressing ourselves. Okay. We also practice etiquette at home. We're working very early on, keeping doors closed, privacy, knocking before we come in. I have another great program. If you have need of someone to learn where it's appropriate to engage in private behaviors, the Private Time program is a program that you can use to teach people the concept of privacy. Unfortunately, people with developmental disabilities or ASD sometimes don't have as much privacy as the rest of us because of their needs and dependency issues, right? So they actually need more instruction and more opportunity to have a clear private area for themselves, right? And we need to be okay with that. Now, and private time isn't about, when we start teaching private time, I might start with an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, even younger. You want to listen to music I don't like? You want to pick your nose? You want to, look at some books? You want to just hang out and be alone? That's cool. That's private time. Let's start that. We teach that. We teach them how to initiate. Then we also teach them. Sometimes you can ask for it and you're not going to get it. You got to get delayed gratification because we're all going to have to deal with that, right? But this helps us. So instead of when Johnny is engaging in masturbatory behavior in class, and this is a big worry, if I've already taught him private time, we're good to go. If I haven't, now we've got some pain, embarrassment, ridicule. Who knows? It's painful for the families. It's difficult for the teachers to know what to do. Peers might be making fun of them. Let's protect them from that and help teach them where it's okay to do that, okay? If they don't know, so we start with private, just any kind of private stuff you want to do. If you need to adjust your underwear, whatever you're going to do. If they don't know how to masturbate, and this is kind of a sensitive topic, but I just want to get it out there. Sometimes people on the spectrum don't know how to reach climax, right? And so you will see repeated behaviors of requesting private time over and over again, or a lot of agitation, or maybe a lot of those behaviors, but they're not they can't settle down. We need to talk a little more specifically about that, okay? There are ways to promote, people are usually it's just trial and error, people kind of figure it out, but it can be a problem that sometimes comes up. I do think it's very important for us to clarify when you're working with so many people that are supporting you. There's a lot of compliance where they listen. You have to follow instructions. You got to listen to what they say. And there's not a lot of opportunity to say no. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not doing that. We don't really give a lot of space for that. So we need to help promote that. But we also have to help them understand, like, one-way street, two-way street. You have to give in relationships and really start practicing that and talk about the discrimination, because it can get confused. Sometimes clients come in and they'll think that we're having like more of an intimate relationship than we are, and I have to be very clear about, like, you are paying me to be here and to work with you. I am a professional person in your life. I like you and I care about you, but I am not your friend. And this is what a friendship is, and this is how friendships work. You don't pay people to be your friends. You don't have to do a lot of favors for people to be your friends. We need to be thoughtful and kind, and those boundaries, those places, it gets muddy. It's like, well, I want to buy him a gift. Why can't I buy him a $100 gift? Well, you don't make enough money to spend $100 on that person, and they wouldn't spend $100 on you. And so, like, those considerations and making sure we're talking about that, it relates to how much you give and take in other situations, where are your boundaries in other situations. If you're needy, what's appropriate as far as a relationship, maintaining a relationship, and what turns people off by being overly needy, and those kinds of things. Okay. I challenge my teens often, if you're interested in dating, first, become friends with a girl you're totally not attracted to. And when you can make her your friend, then you have an opportunity to practice talking to girls, getting to know about what girls like and don't like. But, be friends with people you're not attracted to start, because if you start by, hitting on people you're really attracted to, you get so, like, flummoxed you can't even think. It's not going to probably go as well. So that's one of my first challenges. And, a lot of times, like, why would I bother with that? I'm like, you can meet other friends that way. You can meet the other girls. It makes, it helps you with other connections. So promoting that is a helpful strategy as well. We want to empower our clients versus rescue them. So when a situation comes up, helping them understand how to analyze, walking them through the analysis of the situation, making them a partner in what's going on, and advocating for them on how they can be assertive to handle the situation so that they're more independent the next time things happen. We also want to inoculate a lot of things that we do at our office when we have a situation is we talk about it, we role play it, we act it out, we practice it, we try to get it into more of a general environment. So that it becomes more automatic. The more we practice it, the better it'll be in a stressful situation, because under stress, none of us think very clearly. So if we know there's an issue coming up, we will try to simulate that as best we can and help practice it more and more frequently so that that issue can be taken care of and people will have the skills ready. Again, the importance of disclosure. One of the really important things that we do promote is understanding the laws of consent. Basically, no one under 18 can consent to sexual intercourse or those kinds of things. What's the line there? When people can take back their consent at any point. So having really frank discussions about that also is helpful to people. So finding a good resource for that is very important. Creating the open door policy that really nothing is off limits. The only thing that's off limits for my clients is they can't ask me about my experiences. I provide you with information and education, but I'm not giving you personal experiences. I'm not going to tell you. They'll ask that sometimes, and then I just put the boundary up in that. But other than that, it's okay to ask me questions and things like that. It's also important. I've gone into some pretty specific education about teaching slang words, because that gets to be a point of teasing a lot in middle school. It's like, oh, so-and-so doesn't know what blowjob means. Ha ha, do you know what it means? And then you're like, flummox and that kind of thing. If other kids kind of know that stuff, and we're like, well, we don't really want to he hasn't brought it up. If he doesn't want to know, we don't want to go there. I think it's good information to let them know what all those terms are so that they're not put in a position where they're going to feel awkward or embarrassed or teased. And it's just information, But if you're not comfortable kind of talking about it, or if you feel like it's, it doesn't fit with it allows for a discussion of values. This is what some language you might hear. This is what some people might say. And this is what we feel about this behavior. And this is the context and when it's okay. and this is when it's not. So it's it can open the door for that. Talking about sex frankly actually does model for that person that you can come to me with anything. Okay, and I'm going to be comfortable hearing what you need, and I'm going to be available to you in a non-judgmental way.